Well, everybody, welcome to our webinar today on how to win with Google Local Services ads for landscape and hardscape contractors. So today we're going to be running through this specialty Google ad pay-per lead service and really going into details about how it works and then also how to maximize it if you're already using a service like this. So whether you're in both categories, this is going to be of great value for you guys here today. So let's jump over into it. And before we start, I just want to take a moment to go through a little bit about the model we're using at Landscape and Hardscape Contractor Marketing. So we're using what's called the accelerated growth model for our clients who are using this service. And it really boils down into these three key areas. So the first part is we want to actually set things up to drive leads to your business. And the key channels there is organic SEO, paid search, and your database. Now, within this, the Google local services ads, they fall into the paid search category here. So these are what's showing up when people are searching on Google and they're seeing these businesses less listed there. Next, the next step of this model is the maximized conversion side of things. So it has all to do with your website, your reputation online, and what automations and systems you have in place here. So, I mean, at each step of the way here, we've been sharing content, and I've been putting on webinars covering these different topics here as well. So you can go back and take a look at some of them if you need to, or if you want to. And then the last step here is then it's all about optimizing those results when they come through. So all about getting the best return on investment as possible, looking at what your average cost per lead ends up being across all your channels and your total spend. So that is the outline of things there. And then into more detail, just the real specifics around this as well. So we're going to just touch on really the paid side of things in the drive leads category here today. But these are 9 clear steps to really dominating online and tripling your sales in your landscape and hardscape business. And you could think of these as levers. When you've got these levers working really well or fine tuned, you can bring in more of lead flow and you know that your conversion is going to be the highest it can be. And then from there, it's optimizing and making the most of things there. So let's dive into it. And then before we go into the specifics of the paper lead side of things, this is just showing you what that dominant method looks like on an outline of things. So the PPC paper lead side of things is at the beginning. We can get those leads coming in by using paid strategies. So two components is you need to manage them, whether you do it yourself or you're hiring someone to do it. And then you need to pay for your ad spend on those platforms as well. But then throughout this digital dominance method, you have your other core strategies there. So SEO, repeat referrals, online directories, email marketing, social media, retargeting. So retargeting is targeting people with ads after they visited your online profiles or responded or engaged with you. And when you've got all of this together, that is really when we say that you're dominating. So today, as I said, we're specifically looking at the paid Google Local Services ad side of things, which is a pay-per lead service that Google provides. So as we go through this, to make sure that we can really get through things and we're focused on it, if you wouldn't mind just turning off your cell phones, turning off Facebook, and if you really lean into this, ask questions if you need to, or go into specifics with me if you need to talk about it. We're going to give you some value here on how to set things up and get it going yourself. So today we're going to be looking at what Google local services are, where they're active, how it works, what you can do to jump into doing it yourself if you haven't done so already, what it takes to get up into the top 3 results, and then how you can actually take advantage of this system for high quality leads at a lower cost per lead to maximize your return on investment to really truly win with these ads. And on that, I would say the biggest area around this is if you compare this to other lead platforms that are showing, You have Angie. Angie is one of the biggest lead providers out there. Google has the Google Local Services ads set up so that people are seeing your specific business and it's building your brand. So, really, at a minimum, if you're running any type of Angie service like that or Thumbtack, Google Local Services pretty much are going to be beating that hands down, provided you have some key things in place, which we're going to get into here. So why listen to me? So, we've helped people in this industry generate local leads and then in turn millions in sales from that through digital marketing, online marketing strategies. And as of now, we're doing that across over 70 companies, 1.2 million per month in revenue. We're a part of the industry, we're a part of the California Landscape Contractors Association, and we are part of our own mentoring mastermind groups to grow our business as well in the seven-figure agency. So our mission is really to drive sales and revenue in this space for our clients. And our whole team is geared towards doing that. We love to see businesses like you succeed. So we're here to help you go to the next level. And some of our valued clients around the country that we're working with, we're using their services there and getting them fantastic results. So, firstly, what is Google Local Services ads? You may have seen this up on your screen before. I'm going to make sure that we've got slides only here so that you can see exactly what's on my screen. So, you may have seen this before, and this is showing you what happens on a Google search. And usually now it's the first thing that people are going to see when they search. So, for example, here we've done a search for landscape designers in Bellevue, Washington, as an example. And the first search results that come up are these Google guaranteed Google Local Services ads listings. So you can see we've got LRR Landscaping and then Dreamforge Contractors over here. And you can see there's two ways to reach out to them. You can message them or you can call them. The messaging it's a setting within the platform to how you can turn that on or off, or at the bare minimum, it's set up so that you can call that business. And why does it matter? It's because people using Google, they're looking for something in the moment. You've got high intent leads that come through this platform, and this is where they're going to go. And they're the first thing that comes up, whether you're using your phone or the desktop view to do this. So it's very effective, but you also need to make sure you have a plan in place to do it. It's active all across the US. And here is another top down view. This is kind of the best way we could show this, where you've got your different sections showing on the screen. So up the top there, you've got your Google Local Services ad showing. Then you've got people running your other Google ads. Then you have your Google business profiles underneath that. And what's not shown after that is the website search results. So you can see straight away, this is the first thing to show, but you can also see there are only two businesses that show at any one time for this, which is why it's really important to make sure it's set up as best as possible to get shown in that section there. Okay, and a bit about how they actually work. This is an interesting platform how Google set this up, and they've really set it up so that people using the service are quite vetted and put into place. They've got what's called a background check. So if you haven't seen this before, this background check is part of the application. And to get your Google Guaranteed Green badge, you need to complete the application and then submit your details, usually through this portal called Evident, which will do a background check on you and also any of your field workers who are going to be working on people's homes and property. They do that as well. And then oftentimes too, depending on where you're located and your state's licensing, is sometimes you have to submit your insurance details to Google there as well for the coverage of the platform. So these are all good things because it keeps the standard high. And then it also keeps the right kind of businesses that people can trust up there during this. So Google's put these kind of barriers to entry in place here. But yes, just be aware you do need to complete those things to make sure it's up there too, and to give you the best chance at being seen on that section. Now, once approved and you're active on that, we've seen lead costs coming between 30 to 60, though they can get higher in much more competitive areas. But that is typically like the lower cost side of things that we've seen. And of course, that can shift over time. The city, the services that you're choosing to offer on your profile are going to be different. So, and we'll get into that in a second, what that looks like. But you can contrast that to what you're paying for a shared lead provider such as Angie, then this is great because the people choosing you have gone to your profile, they've seen the reviews you've gotten, they've seen your what you offer and photos and things like that, and they've chosen to contact you specifically. So while you have that lead cost there, this is going a lead directly to you for this. Okay. Now, how it works, you have two options for how you're bidding on these leads as they come through. So you can let Google find the right bid, and Google's just going to look at the number of businesses operating in the areas you choose and comes up with that. It can adjust your budget, or you can manually set your bid as well. Now, to note is you're getting charged per lead here, so you're not getting charged for people when they click on your profile. So if they click on your profile and don't do anything, you never get charged for that, but it's when they actually come through and contact you is when you do get charged there as well. And it is a factor of getting seen and those top spots of really putting your bid the highest that you can be, just to give you more of a chance of being shown above that. But it is something you can adjust and change and test out for your business there. Now, the detail of how you get charged is that, you have a weekly budget that you specify there. So as an example, let's say that you put your 2000 a month, say, is your budget for this, and you decide, okay, let's split that up into, about 500 a week or $71 per day, with a cost per lead of 35 approximately. Yeah. Once you spend that weekly budget, then your local services ad disappears off that listing there, and other businesses will likely show up there in that place there too. So that's just a bit of an overview of how things work there as well. Now it can change day to day, but it'll never exhaust more than what you're put in for your designated weekly budget there as well. So it is important to keep tabs on it. But if you are looking for a number of increase in lead flow, it's something you can turn on for a period of time to do that as well. And then lastly here, you do have the ability to immediately dispute leads if it's not valid. So, some of the things here, they could be sales calls, or perhaps they're asking for a service that you haven't put on your profile that you offer. Okay. There are some details and examples of that for you to take a look at. So I'll let you have a look through that list first. Meanwhile, if you've got any questions, anything like that to put in the chat, let me know. There you go. So those are all those examples to take a look at there. Wrong numbers if you're being trying, if it's a sales call or anything like that, or an employment call. If they didn't talk about your business, those all fit, or anything pre-recorded, those spam robocalls, things that you get through there, as well as, yeah, if it's outside of the location you put on, or services that you did not list, they all do not uh, apply there. Okay, let's make sure we get the slideshow back up and going. Okay, let's keep moving through things then. So here is some of the feedback that we've had from other active users about the platform here is that, yeah, as mentioned, the lead quality does tend to be a much higher lead quality than Angie, Home Advisor, and other shared lead providers. You still get the price shoppers, of course. People sometimes doing this, they're going to be contacting multiple businesses. So it is very important to make sure that you've really got your sales processes and automation set up to follow up these people, to book them in and provide them with the best customer service. But overall, really great return on investment for most of our clients who are running this. But here's some details about really it's a no-brainer for you to sign up for this, particularly if you're at a position where you're not doing any other paid marketing strategies yet. So perhaps you have an SEO strategy in place, perhaps you're looking to get into doing this. You're going to show up at the top of the results. You're only paying per lead, higher lead quality, and then you can modify things. There are a couple of caveats to here is you do need to have an existing Google business profile set up to do this, and you do need to make sure that you have at least 5 reviews on the profile. Ideally more, because what happens is if your business is showing up in that section and there's a business that has 100 reviews and your business only has 6 or 7, a lot of the time those people are going to pick that other company to call before yours. So it's why getting reviews are so important. Or even if you're just getting into platform, there is review requests you can send through the platform. That is really, really important to boost up that and encourage people to reach out to you. So how do you get set up? If you work with us, we do it for you already. If any of our clients are here and you haven't got this set up. Otherwise, there's a direct link there, ads.google.com/local services. Make sure we get that there for you so you can type it in, ads.google.com/local services, or if you just search for it, it'll show up for you. Now, how does the ranking work? So this is really important, particularly if you're already running these types of ads. Might be some people watching here that you've got this running, but you might not be getting the lead flow. And I take a look at different businesses' accounts on here all the time, and most of the time from the front end, I can give some suggestions and advice about why they might not be getting the lead flow through it. But the proximity of your business does have a factor in how your profile gets shown. So best to target your immediate vicinity here. But if you're going after areas that are 30 miles away, for example, there are other more local businesses up there that are likely going to get shown before you, unless it's an extremely low competition area. Now, the review score and the number of reviews that are coming through are a factor there. The biggest factor here we're seeing is how responsive you are to customer inquiries and requests. And a lot of that is making sure, if you're doing the call only component of it, is to make sure you're getting that phone call answered, because the phone calls are tracked through the system, and making sure that you're helping get those into sales and then helping the customer out. Business hours, these ads only show during the business hours you specify on it. Now, if you're getting complaints about your business, that does affect the ranking. Obviously, you don't want that to be happening. And then, in addition to these, Google doesn't it tries to avoid your budget just being blown up in one little section of time. So it'll stagger the algorithm on how it shows these to do this as well. So you can sometimes see that adjustment come through. And then, yeah, a little tip there is you may also see your ranking affected or your ads pause temporarily, to do that from Google's end. Okay, so quick moment here. Take a moment to think about that. If you got any questions, pop them in the chat, whether you're running these yourself or not. Okay. So here's what you're going to do to make sure that you're getting things set up as best as possible. Make sure your service area is really specified. And the great thing here, you can, in a lot of areas, you can get pretty granular in how you set up your service area. You'll have to test to log into your profile and do that. But we tend to see that if you've got a county that you're operating in, obviously there's counties across the country that are big and small. That can be a good way to really maximize that area reach. Otherwise, you can be more granular and specific with the zip code side of things. Mark your jobs as booked. In the back end of the platform, there's an option to do that to deal with disputes the right way. There, make sure you're bringing those verified reviews through. Once you've done a job, you can do the review request to people. And then in your reporting, you have that section to mark them as booked. So you want to really aim for a percentage over 85% to send Google these signals about your business that's going to want to keep showing you up. Okay. First thing here into deep dive is dialing in your profile. So we take a look at that. This is really important. Make sure you open up that budget if you have the capacity to do so. They're cost effective leads, so you should be getting a good return on investment on these. Update your ad schedule, so your business hours, make sure they're accurate and make sure they're within the timeframes you can answer the phone, serve people. Now, for your business bio, just an example, there's a picture there. Make sure that that first photo you've got is really appealing to help, and then choosing the jobs that are relevant for your business and your service areas, as we talked about, is going to be important there. And then business hours we talked about too. Okay, so I'll just put down there, yeah. Use a personality photo, showcase yourself or your team. Make your business really look like someone who who's personable. You're not just a faceless company, you're not just a faceless entity. You have people like yourself running the business and people working there. So there's a little tip for maximizing things there. So here's the market booked section up on the profile here, and I'm going to jump off the slides on my face there. So that's where that shows up. Mark your jobs is booked. It looks at how responsive you are as a business. And then the customer details include the email address, put in everything you've got there, and then archive non-converted opportunities. Okay. If you have something that's a dispute, that's the section here. Make sure you go through each lead in detail and do this. And here are the suggestions. You're not going to be charged for the disqualified leads, but if they're outside your area, not a service you provide, make sure you specify that in your dispute. And then for the jobs you do go through and complete, driving the verified reviews are just so important for this. So that's what this looks like there. You can see there's an ask for review section down the bottom. If you provided the service, go ahead and do that. So it is such a major factor, that review driver there. So make sure that you've got that, put in. And of course, make sure you're providing great service is the best way to get the best reviews. Very, very clear there too. But yeah, enter their name, enter their email, and then click the request review button to get that moving. Okay, so this is an example of what that little window just looks like there. Put in the job, location, etc., etc. Google will send that request. Okay. Best thing to do is to target that booking rate. So, the best thing to do this is one, just make sure you're putting on the services that you can actually do, that you actually want. Make sure you're targeting the service areas you can actually provide the service in. That's one of the really quick ways to just getting that booked in to your job calendar set up there. Okay. So shoot for 85% and then keep an eye on it. This is a platform you do need to be logging in regularly and checking and following up with, but Google set it up. It is pretty intuitive. It is pretty well set up in that regard, but it's well worth it to keep your eye on this. Okay, and it'll tell you there over there. You can see what your booking rate is out of these jobs. Okay, now if you really want to maximize the lead flow for these, is get that budget open. Yeah, it's likely you're probably not going to spend a lot of it if you put it really high, but it gives you the best chance of being seen. And then, as we talked about there, really put things in place for closing out your leads. Make sure you have a good follow up system in place for phone calls and anything like that with your review requests too. Okay, now if you do need help with this, we do offer this full service for our clients, and we do provide all of the automation to make that work as well. So automated phone call follow-ups, bringing in these leads into our platform. Can You can also connect in a scheduling component to help you with that side of things and driving those reviews. So, this is what we do. If you need any help with that, reach out to us. And then specifically, yeah, if you want to talk to us about general marketing here, we offer a free online marketing review for you. So what we're going to do is do a deep dive into what you've got running so far in terms of your digital marketing, including local services ads if you do have them already. And all you have to do is just go to that link to schedule a time to do that. And myself and my team will be able to have a chat to you and do that deep dive there for you. Okay. Now, if you've got any further questions, let me know. Otherwise, we want to thank you for being here on this call. Hope it was a immense value to you. We'll see you soon. Thanks.